אני מזמין את ידידי ואת עמיתי ואת הבוס שלי, תהיו נחמדים אליו, ילל שמיד.
בוקר טוב לכולם. I'll start with your permission in a story in Hebrew because it sounds better, and then since you have a translation, it's okay. And then I'll move to the English. אז בוקר טוב, מספרים על אותו מרצה שהביאו אותו בבוקר אחד ליוסטון, טקסס, והוא התחיל לדבר וכל פעם עלה על טורים והתקדם, ובצד ישב קאובוי ושיחק עם האקדח. אז המרצה החביר, אז הוא אמר לו, אל תפחד, זה לא נגדך, זה נגד זה שהביא אותך. אז מי שהביא אותי בין היתר היה גם מוטי וינטר, שיצר את הקשר בינינו לבין מכון חרוב, אז למי שיש בעיות זה מוטי ולא אני. מכל מקום, good morning everybody, and today's conference concludes a 3-day expert meeting held in Mishkanot Sha'ananim under the auspices of the Xarov Institute. The meeting was attended by experts in the area of child welfare from the US, Canada, England, Sweden, and Israel, who share the knowledge and experience they gained from research, teaching, and practice in the field of child welfare and child maltreatment. Unfortunately, Professor Eileen Monroe of the London School of Economics cannot be with us because she was appointed by the new British government to head a task force on child welfare. We understand that she will be engaging in a very important mission, and we wish her the best of luck. Professor Nancy Dickinson, Director of the National Child Welfare Workplace and Institute and member of the Atlantic Coast Implementation Center at the University of Maryland School of Social Work, accepted our invitation on a very short notice and will share with us today her extensive knowledge and experience in the field of child welfare, and thank you, Nancy. The 3-day expert meeting and today conference aim to broaden the base of knowledge and practice on practice and policy in complex fields such as child welfare in general and child maltreatment in particular. The Xarov Institute provides support to scholars and practitioners in those fields in an attempt to promote child protection and welfare. Without a doubt, in recent years, there has been considerable progress in efforts to build an infrastructure of knowledge and information that can strengthen evidence-informed policymaking and implementation, as well as processes of treatment. However, this is just the beginning, and there is a need to establish and expand these efforts. Without advanced information system, not only it will be difficult to formulate appropriate policies, but therapists will also lack advanced knowledge that can facilitate the difficult therapeutic decision they have to make every day. Evidently, policy is influenced not just by hard facts and evidence, but also by the values that guide policymakers. However, decisions cannot be based on values and intuition alone. They must be supported by systematic knowledge and information. Sometimes it seems that this aspect of decision-making is considered less important. Not enough emphasis is placed on documentation, and there is even a tendency to underestimate its value. Many policymakers tend to believe that the knowledge used by academic scholars to develop theoretical models is abstract, and that practitioners in the field will have difficulty understanding it. As such, practitioners in the field resist sometimes using those models to some extent and hesitate to implement them. This is not to say that practical knowledge and applied models are not developed in the field as a response to the complex problems that practitioners encounter. Unfortunately, even though there has been some change in the dialogue between academic scholars and practitioners, that change, in my mind, is not sufficient. Oftentimes, the parties engaged in dialogue speak different languages that are loosely connected. The practitioners think that the academic scholars are closed in their ivory tower, and academics believe that practitioners in the field don't base their work on adequate systematic knowledge or rational consideration, and that they are not open enough to critical thinking. I can feel the constant tension between the two sides Sometimes it's constructive, but in many cases it leads to alienation and distancing. The activities of research and training center, like the Xarov Institute, lie between research and practice. The knowledge developed at Xarov is basic and applied knowledge in the area of child abuse and neglect. The knowledge is transmitted to workers who are part of a larger community of professionals in the field. Although the Xarov Institute is in the initial stage of its development, we are aware of the importance of establishing an international relationship with leading research centers and scholars, not only in order to learn from their knowledge and experience, but also in order to familiarize them with the knowledge and experience of Israeli experts. The Xarov Institute has undertaken the important task of improving and upgrading therapeutic system. At the same time, it is responsible for making the knowledge accumulated through research and investigation available to policymakers in order to enable them to make rational, evidence-informed decisions. This is a major challenge, and we hope to meet it in the years to come. As academic scholars, we are aware of the difficulties involved in this effort and acknowledge the problems involved in implementation of the research finding presented to policymakers. Nonetheless, we believe that it is essential to integrate research and practice. Otherwise, we will encounter constant surprises and we will not be ready to deal with the situations as they occur. Today's conference, like the expert meeting, is another step toward building the infrastructure of knowledge and information in an attempt to bridge the gap between research and practice and to promote the dialogue necessary for each side to learn from the other. In that way, we hope to enable the Israeli experience to stand up to the public, academic and international criticism so that all of the system can improve their work. We must remember that these efforts are only the means to achieve our goal, which is to help children ensure their safety and promote their well-being. This conference and all the activities of the Xarov Institute wouldn't have been possible without the dedicated support of Ms. Lynn Schusterman. The Family Foundation, named for Lynn and her late husband Charles, have been contributed generously to the field of child welfare in Israel, as well as to many other causes. Today, when it is not taken for granted that philanthropists will donate their property and assets to the Israeli society, Mrs. Schusterman epitomizes the meaning of giving and altruism. She has shown confidence in professionals who do everything they can to promote issues relating to child welfare and protection in Israel, which all of us believe in. This conference couldn't have happened without the involvement and deep commitment of several key persons. First of all, Professor Aaron Shlonsky of Toronto University, who has responded to the challenge of bringing together leading world experts in the field of child welfare. In collaboration with them, he proposed the agenda for the expert session and for this conference, and acted as a leader and liaison for the participants in both events. Aaron was invited to serve as a scholar in residence at the Xarov Institute, and his knowledge and expertise have helped us to develop our international collaboration in research and advanced training methods and technologies. Thank you, Aaron. I would also like to thank my friend and colleague, Professor Rami Ben-Benishti, who is the head of research and evaluation at the Xarov Institute. Everyone who knows Rami is aware of his unique contribution to the field and his profound commitment to children. His research focuses on children, their welfare, protection, and well-being, as well as on other important areas. Rami is an industrious person, to say the least. When I think of him, I think of a writer who gets tired of writing another book, but who rises to the challenge and continues writing, maybe out of jealousy, when he is told that his rival will soon be publishing a new book. In that way, Rami makes us all keep up with the pace and continue working hard to promote issues in our agenda. Rami and Professor Shlonsky worked together to prepare the 3-day expert session and today's conference. Rami is always open to suggestions, and he's inspired us to implement the good ideas raised in our work. The crucial, complicated task of realizing these events was performed by Mrs. Tali Shlomi of the Harov Institute. Tali, you showed tactful persistence in organizing the expert session and the conference. On my behalf and on behalf of our guests from abroad, I would like to express my appreciation to you for all your efforts. You took responsibility and organized a week full of professional challenges and social stimulation. The meetings including important professional encounters on one end and encounters with the Israeli culture and heritage on the other. I am sure we learn and benefit from your work. I would also like to thank the staff members of the Harov Institute who all contributed to these efforts. Finally, I would like to thank all the lecturers from abroad that are sitting here and there, Professor Shlonsky, Garner, Bar, Dickinson, Sandel, Dubovich, Wolzin, and Courtney, who made the trip to Israel and have shared with us their tremendous knowledge and expertise in the field of child welfare. At this time, when Israeli universities are facing hostility from academic institutions in many countries, your participation in this conference is particularly important and appreciated. I would also like to thank the Israel lecturers, Professor Jonah Rosenfeld, Professor Chaya Yitzhaki, Professor Anat Zeira, Professor Jack Chaviv, Dr. Mili Mas, Dr. Bila Davidson Arad, Ms. Talal Dolev, and Mr. Kuti Tzava for participating in this conference and sharing your extensive knowledge, your theoretical and empirical experience, and your thoughts about promoting the issues on our agenda. I hope this conference will be meaningful and productive for all of us. Thank you.